Morning. Do you guys notice anything different on the combine? Other than the 12-row folding corn head, that's old news at this point. I'll give you a hint. It's right up there in between the lights with the yellow top. For the unacquainted, that is a John Deere 7000 Starfire GPS receiver. It's the upgrade from the 6000s that we've ran for the last 5 or 6 years. Our big S780 combine got one. The S670 combine got one. The 8R370 also got a 7000 receiver. And of course the 9620R and both 9460Rs now have one. In a way, it's kind of like our own little episode of Oprah. You get a new GPS receiver. You get a new GPS receiver. One for everyone. For the operators of the machine, there's really no practical difference between the 6000s that we've been running and the 7000. I think the sales sheet says that maybe they're more accurate, more reliable than the 6000s. The major difference about the 7000s is every single one of them, with an activation fee, if you want to pay it, you don't have to, has satellite-based RTK, meaning you don't have to switch towers as you move across the farm. You can just stay on one RTK signal somehow that talks to the satellites, triangulates, quadrupolates, I don't know how it does it, but it's supposedly as accurate as the radio-based RTK without having to punch numbers. Had an issue this spring where Dad's planter tractor was set on a very far away tower. We didn't realize it until we were completely done planting our corn, and in spots, especially as we got farther away from that main tower we were connected to, things got a little bit ugly with the planting path. Needless to say, this switch may be beneficial for our operation, especially when some of our steering wheel holders aren't as tech savvy. Dad. There is one caveat to this deal, other than the monetary value it took to trade from the 6000s to the 7000s, which was kind of a minimal price when you think about it. We do have to redo all of our boundaries and guidance lines because the radio-based RTK is not on the same set point, I guess you would say, as the satellite system, so our lines will not be accurate on these new ones. Not a big deal for harvest because we really use minimal precision guidance. We just kind of want to go in a straight line. It will matter this spring, so sometime this off season we will have to go around and redo all of them. Some of you may recall I was trying to do that this off season with our 6000 receiver, and I'm glad I didn't get it done because I would have been upset to have to redo it all again when we made this switch. I think the fact that I didn't complete the mapping task I was working on made this an even easier switch for us. On top of these simpler RTK features, it was kind of just an economic decision. John Deere came out with the newest generation of steering receiver. We thought that our 3000s and 6000s would be worth much less very shortly in the marketplace, especially as supply has become overabundant. My, how things have changed in the last few years. So we just went ahead and made the switch immediately, thinking that this would be the best long-term financial play for our operation in terms of our steering hardware. That brings me to what I'm actually working on. I need to calibrate the TCM because we got a brand new steering hardware dome on here. Calibrations, procedures, that's not where you go. One of these days I'll have these memorized like the AMS specialist at the dealership. There we go. We're just going to do a simple 3D calibration. Look at the fidelity on this backup camera. Almost looks like maybe they strapped a Nokia phone from 20 years ago on there to film. Just got to find the right spot to line up with to calibrate this. That ought to do. There's an advanced calibration that you can do. However, there's nothing really advanced about our operation. Pick a spot, set the first point, do a circle, same spot. Oh no, oh, I messed it up. For those of you who are not familiar, the TCM is just the terrain compensation module. Calibrating this both directions allows it to kind of tell what the pitch is of the path it's on so it can correctly compensate as it goes through the field. For picking corn and cutting soybeans, it's really not that big of a deal, especially because our corn head has row sense that feels the corn stalks and steers based on that, not GPS. Alrighty, calibrating. It may not be accurate, but it was quick. Seems like a poor place to leave a bunch of Allen wrenches. Almost looks like my work. That definitely looks like my work. And I was right there, I think. I'm not just gonna tease you. We are actually planning on picking a tiny bit of corn today. Not really because we need to pick corn to harvest it. We just need to get some out of the way to service our augers that are tucked away in a shed. Yeah, definitely looks like that got ran over by something. And I do think that this is my work. Speaking of the grain cart that likely ran over those Allen wrenches, I've got to finish greasing one thing in particular on it. Couldn't do it with the fitting I had, and I thought, surely they made a right angle grease gun attachment. And they do, courtesy of Lock and Lube. So we're gonna go try this out on some bushings. Someone always beats me to my $1 million ideas. This would be nice to have, though. Would an engineer at J&M please tell me who designed this grease zerk and expected you to be able to grease it? It's impossible. You can't get around that bolt, even with this thing. Maybe you're supposed to just pick the track up and that detensions it or something? I don't know. A little disappointed. I thought that was gonna work. I don't think J&M wants you to service that area of the track. They'd rather you just replace the bushing when it runs out. That right angle grease attachment will be really handy in the future on something else, I'm sure. Today's probably the first official day of harvest here. People have been harvesting for the last week. One of the local elevators is offering half-price drying, so that usually gets most of the combines out of the shed. A lot of this early stuff, if I had to guess, is running 18 to 25% if it's planted maybe first week of April, and shorter season corn, 108 to 111 day. There's a combine right there opening up some corn. Beans are getting close too. We'll be busy here in the next week. Told you, combines out of the shed everywhere. There's another combine over there over the hill running. The to-do list is getting shorter and shorter by the hour. We are going to go ahead and hook up our third semi that kind of just perpetually stays in storage. Worked out really well for us last fall to have it. It's a little bit hard to get to, and we've got some obstacles in the way, so I'm gonna use the loader. Quick hitch off the 8R370 tucked under here, and it's not super light, so grateful to have the loader to move this. It's only somewhat sketchy. It's the best part about working around here.
Unfolding fast.
It unfolds way faster than it folds up.
Do we stop here at the end and let it adjust, or just go bad out age? Yeah, but does it need to go easy when it goes?
No, just hold it. When it says fully unfolded there, you're done. I still got to seat this outside.
Corn dry. Threshing speed. 17. Concave clearance, 25 to 35, put on 30, Chaffer 15 to 18. Sieve 13. Cleaning fan 12 to 13.50.
You can tell we actually grease our equipment because we always find random chunks of grease places. You're watching the master at work.
Amen.
There's the entire reason we're picking these ends off right now. 2 augers we've got stored here.
That can't be right.
I wouldn't put much merit in the yield at this point. Didn't pick enough to calibrate the monitor. 12 row corn, you gotta go over 6 then.
I wouldn't count. Why not?
I think this is 116-day corn, I'm not sure. Moisture's averaging right around 22% right now. My dad's been running 8-row corn heads for as long as I can remember, so I think this 12-row may be a little bit of an adjustment for him.
Be more than just a little.
He'll get used to it after a field or two, or maybe a year or two, we'll see.
Where am I?
I think you're about where you need to be. Just like riding a bike. Ever since Dad got a smartphone, it went from, Andy, can you come set up the auto steer, to, Andy, will you come make sure my phone's connected to the Bluetooth so I can talk hands-free? Things change. Freshly picked corn. That's a smell I love. This is the 3rd field that Dad has picked a little bit off of. The first one, obviously, as I mentioned, was so we can get those augers out of the shed without running over corn. Now he's just taking end rows off next to lanes that will allow us to get easier access to maybe a nearby field. The issue is that our combines are wider than most of the lanes we travel, so we'd have to run over a few rows of corn. Today, with elevators offering half-price drawing, it's a perfect opportunity to widen some of these lanes because we'll probably be back to cut beans that are tucked away behind some of these cornfields with access to these lanes before we'll pick the cornfield itself. So just kind of maybe logistically loosening things up for us before we really hit harvest hard here probably the next couple days. There's probably something way more productive I could be doing other than following them around. On the off chance that Dad needs me, I will be here. They've been to 3 fields. We haven't really picked that much though. We haven't even got a full truckload yet. That's not a commentary on yield, it's just we've not really harvested that many acres. As I'm seeing on the yield monitor and according to Dad, most of this stuff's gonna be easily over 200 bushels an acre, which is a good thing. Will you radio him and ask if his radio's on?
Okay.
On to the last one. Loss out the back of the machine, which is always good. I think I'd like to see our stock stompers set a little more aggressively. Stocks really are not that beaten down against the ground. Maybe something we look at later today or tomorrow, or it could just possibly be that we need to set the height lower when we're harvesting. That would mean there's just naturally more pressure against the ground because the head is lower. put a whole lot of merit in the yield monitor and the combine, especially in corn. It doesn't seem to be too reliable. We saw the good, bad, and the ugly, 100 bushel to 260. We'll see how the fields actually shake out when we have full scale tickets to work with. Of course, moisture is a little bit more on the reliable side, 18 to 22%, which is a lot drier than I like to see this time of year. Has been a fairly warm growing season, meaning that drying has been kind of expedited. I'd like to think, though, that there might be a little bit of yield loss associated with that drying, not because of the phantom yield loss, more so just because our growing season was very drouthy. Our crop just did not finish strong. If it is actually 18%, we need to think about picking some of this stuff and putting it in the bin, because by the time we cut beans for 3 or 4 weeks in a row without any kind of rain delay, I'm not penciling one in right now, there's not one in the forecast, our corn's going to be 11 or 12%, which is quite a bit of money we left on the table because we didn't get it picked.
First day done.
Yep. Time to take a week vacation. Picked a load of corn, now the combine needs a full fuel tank. You think those stock stumpers need adjusted?
Probably. What'd we decide, the middle one and the short one?
I would say the middle one, yeah.
Well, aren't they in the middle one?
No, I thought they were on the back one. Also, is there any reason that one of your jack stands is all the way up and one's down one?
Yeah, because I forgot to do it, I think.
Okay, I just leave them where you unhook them at. Well, I guess maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. Alrighty, time to go get those 2 augers out of storage. This involves the loader tractor and a few curse words. Not even sure which one we put up first. Keep going. Keep going. Don't want to jinx us because we're only half done. That one went way better than I was expecting. Although it's usually a lot easier to pull things out than it is to put them back in. That poor hitch pin. Turn her that way! We didn't have one of our heavy duty hitch pins, so we had to make do with something that looks like it was off of a child's toy. Two for two. Took us about 1/10 of the time to pull them out than it did to put them in, if not 100th of the time. We haven't even been here for 10 minutes. I'm not entirely sure if there's a designated speed limit for backing up on this farm. If there was, my dad definitely just broke it. There's one right there. John Deere's biggest combine. X9 1100 running. 16-row corn head. We must have used up all of our luck on the first auger because it was in great shape. The second one, though, needed a new chain here on the outside dump. So gotta fix that, grease it, and it should be good to go.
I don't know. You'll have to ask him. Oh, you need a license to test it, Andy?
I got no idea.
Probably this way, doesn't it?
We're gonna oil that.
Yeah, I need to check that gearbox first.
Oh yeah, we need to check.
We may be moving our harvest timeline up just based on the fact that that load we took to the elevator tested 18.6% moisture. If we've got corn that is actually that dry, with soybean harvest staring us down in the next 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, it would actually probably be financially prudent of us to go ahead and start picking some of this corn and putting it in the bin at 17, 18, 19%. Blow a lot of air through it. We can probably bring it down a couple points and get some good quality long or medium term storage out of there. The issue is if we don't start picking it, we cut soybeans for 3 weeks in a row, we get back out here without much rain, this corn could be 11 or 12%, which is very concerning because that 3 or 4% we lose is major dollars out of our pocket because we didn't get it harvested. I talked a little bit about that earlier. Just keep your eyes and ears open because we may be picking corn here tomorrow or the next day depending on how things go before we even cut beans. Don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!